What is good? Welcome back to the Pop Off Podcast, a conversation show about maybe the greatest female singer alive, SZA, and her new album, SOS. I am Ralph Compiano. I'm your host. And today I am joined by perhaps the biggest SZA evangelist that I know, a worshiper, a disciple, and somebody who really walks the walk and talks the talk, Deja Williams. SZA dropped a new project, first time in 5 years. What was your initial reaction?
Well, hi everyone. Good to be back. My initial reaction, I think it took me I was in disbelief for a while. I know Rihanna fans feel very similar with the new single coming out. It's just like you're in such disbelief and shock, like that it's even happening. And when it happens, it took me probably 2 listens through the whole album before it resonated like this, you have this forever. This album is yours. And since then I've just been enjoying it and exploring it and so happy. I know she's so happy watching those album release party videos. I'm it's just a breath of fresh air for us both. And yeah, I don't know, I'm really happy.
That's such an interesting concept, like the struggle to believe it's real. Because I think what SZA is to you is what Drake is to me. And Drake means the same thing to both of us, probably in a lot of ways. But when he dropped Certified Lover Boy for the first time, I was like, oh, this doesn't feel real. But now that he's dropped 3 albums in 14 months, it's like, okay, honestly, never mind. And Her Loss, they both felt real right away because it's like I've been used to it. But when we look at some of our favorite artists who we share, we had Kendrick drop earlier this year. That didn't feel real at first. Whenever
Right.
Frank inevitably drops, if inevitable is the right word there, maybe he'll never drop again. Who knows? But that won't feel real. And then Rihanna's the same thing. And it's like SZA came back, and I think that my gut reaction was she's always had the greatest voice. Like that's what drew me into her at first. She has this swagger to her, just a different energy than a lot of other, singers with that archetype kind of resonate with. But with her, it's always she kind of sings like a dude a little bit, at least the stereotypical concept of a dude. She calls bitches her sons like Nicki Minaj, and then she also refers to dudes as hoes. Like she's totally toxic, which makes sense because I think her favorite rapper is Future. She said she only listens to Future, Don Toliver, and Travis Scott, and it makes sense when you listen to her music.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing was I was like, fuck, 23 songs. This is going to be a lot. An hour and 8 minutes. I'm like, shit, this is going to feel more like a chore. And then by the second track, I'm like, oh no, this is church. This isn't a chore.
Yeah.
And
it was easy. Yeah.
100%. And it gets easier the more you go into it. I heard an interesting concept the other day. I want to know what this album meant to you because I've been thinking about it as a balance of quote unquote his loss, the Her Loss for women, but then also kind of similar to Kendrick, almost like a therapy session where she's not doing interludes or anything like that, but there's a lot of very therapeutic music on here. But she's towing this line going back and forth between those two. Is there one that you resonate with more, that you prefer? Do you like the bad bitch energy, or do you go more towards the dealing with her inner demons? She's rapping about this ex-boyfriend a ton on the project. What is it you kind of lean towards more with her?
I think, well, in my mind, everything is pre-control, post-control. Control shifted everything for me. And in my control era, I was very much leaning into the sad girl, 20-something normal girl. Also that was just the time of my life. I really resonated with that. But now that I think I have more clarity with who I am as a person and my identity, and I'm just in this evolving era of my life, I feel more attached to the so-called toxic side of her, where she's just kind of a menace. And I think thinking about this, and I hate to be this bitch because I'm just not I am a horoscope bitch, whatever, let me just say that.
Talk your shit.
This album was the embodiment of a Scorpio, the balance of demonic almost energy and chaos matched with therapeutic and self-reflecting. It just reminded me so much of all the Scorpios in my life. I'm this is very she's finally coming into herself, and you can just feel the confidence, but also there's still that tether of pain and things she really needs to work through, you know? So it's great to see. It's such a humanizing album.
That was the biggest thing. It's like there's always been a veil between her and
Yeah.
me. It's like, okay, this woman is fucking perfect. Like, she's the most gorgeous person I've ever seen in my life. She has this ridiculous voice. Ideally, her life would be perfect. And she comes off with that energy on most of the songs that I resonate with, at least.
Hmm.
But then there's like a 5-track run on this project where I mean, I was almost moved to tears. And that
Yeah.
never happens with me in music. I'm sitting in my fucking 9 to 5 Friday morning listening to this track. And where is it? It goes from special to too late and far, and then all the way down to I hate you. So I think it's like
Hmm.
it's pretty deep into the album. It's like tracks 15 through 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
And she is just letting loose. It's like every single diary entry she ever had the last
Hmm.
5 years while she's been going through this evolution. She's spilling it onto paper, and then she's just belting it with that fucking. I've been trying to think of like who is her comparison in music, and I've been struggling, but the kind of thing that I came up with was Old Dirty Bastard is on this
Mm.
project.
Oh
He's
my
on the
God,
very
so
last
good.
song, and it's just a really sick sample from a freestyle of his from
Crazy.
whenever. And I think she's very similar to him in that like she changes registers really fast and
Hmm.
flows, and she's just demonstrating that she's like one of the best rappers alive right now, like when on this whole album. But then she like blends that with like the Erica Badu, where I've been listening to her a little bit more recently, and
Hmm.
she is just so calming. She's just this
Yeah.
energy that's like I can wake up to her. If I'm gonna get chopped and I'm like on the verge of a panic attack, I just throw on some Badu and she just like completely like resolves all my issues. And so
Yeah.
she's kind of blended between, like you said, this chaos of Old Dirty Bastard. We've never
Hmm.
seen anybody like him, never did before, never will again. And then Erica, who is just like the most, I don't know, she's like a walking sedative. Every time I turn her
Yeah.
on, it's like a placebo effect of a Xanax.
No,
And then
literally.
SZA is just taking those two and kind of fusing them together a little bit. And so
Yeah.
that's a lot for like 68 minutes straight. And
Yeah.
then you only get 3 features too. Did you have a favorite feature here? We got Phoebe, Tolliver, and Travis, and then obviously the old ODB sample. Is there one that you're leaning towards right now?
Definitely Phoebe, I'm thinking.
100%.
Like the way their voices just flowed into each other like a river, I was in like I didn't even have time to adjust for the transition because usually, you know, for example, in the Travis Scott song, it's very much you're you know when it's coming. Like
Yep, it's
it's the
formulaic.
very it's yeah, exactly. But that Phoebe song, she just slid in there perfectly. They harmonized. And it's also like the most unexpected on the album, I would say. Like Phoebe Bridgers is finally like people are having their Phoebe Bridgers awakening finally, I'm feeling.
Oh,
And
I'm a woken dog. Like SZA
most
put me
people
on
have been
Phoebe
awoken.
Bridgers this week.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've seen it on the Instagram stories. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I'm glad people have like a folklore neo pop person they can lean on. That's not really my bag.
Yeah.
But then I hear her on this. I'm like, what the fuck have I been missing? I'm an ignorant asshole. How did I
Yeah.
not get put on this wave earlier?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. She's amazing and she like this was like the perfect placement right smack dab in the middle. So definitely that one. What about you?
I'm the same. And if you would have
Of
told me
course.
before the album that Phoebe would have my favorite feature on a project with Travis, Don, and ODB, I'd be like, dude, you're a fucking
It's
weirdo.
wild.
Don't say that shit about me.
It's wild.
But I think she kind
Although,
of opened something up with SZA a little bit where
yeah.
like there's a part on the verse where she says, let's talk about AI. Robot got more heart than I. Robot for future. I don't. Oh, robot got future. I don't. Robot could sleep, but I don't power down. And it's like I don't see her saying that anywhere else on the project unless it's somebody like this who's like, you know what? Just experiment. What it
Yeah.
feels like that was like her 15th verse or
Mm-hmm.
15th like 2 bar for that like song. And then this is the one that stuck with her. And she's like, you know what? Let's push it to the brim. Let's get as weird as we possibly can.
Right.
And I think that's just been like how do I want to say this? It's so hard to stand out nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Um and especially like on an album that is this long, it's gonna be hard for like 2 bars to stick out to you. But it's like those were the ones that did because they were unlike anything else. And that's not to
Mm-hmm.
say they were the most powerful or the most catchy, but they were just the ones that I was like, this doesn't seem to fit, but at the same time it does. And it's
Right.
just a great personification of how she feels right now. I kind of want to talk to you about the like her status in music right now because it's 2022 and there's just so much shit being pumped into the ether every single day.
Yeah.
So many new musicians. And I've been thinking about like the status of rap, the status of R&B, the status of pop.
Hmm.
I asked my friends this question the other day. I'm like, who is the heir apparent to Drake? Like, once Drake retires, like, who's going to take the game over from Drake? Because there's been a logical succession with most artists. It's like
Hmm.
you go from Tupac and Biggie to Jay-Z, Jay-Z to Lil Wayne and Kanye, Kanye and Lil Wayne to Drake, and that's just how it's been. And
Hmm.
now it's like, I don't know, Lil Baby, Gunna, I suppose, but I don't really feel comfortable with them kind of taking care of the game.
Yeah.
With female artists, it's like, okay, so we got, you know, probably Whitney Houston, Lauryn Hill, Madonna's in that mix. You got Beyonce, you got Rihanna, and Rihanna hasn't dropped an album since 2016. Beyonce just dropped this year, was magnificent. Taylor
Hmm.
Swift, obviously, in that same realm. Do you
Hmm.
think SZA can elevate into that like same mainstream area, or is it like there's just too much stuff in the world and she's maybe not, I don't know, not enough of a sellout, quote unquote, because none of those people are sellouts, but like what would hold her back from being able to be like an A+ list Beyonce level celebrity? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it's a personal preference. And this is even my experience working on the back end. Like there's so many people who are like extremely, extremely talented and like known, but there's you have to be putting forth effort. And I think obviously like Frank Ocean, he's an anomaly to the situation because it's like you are a god of music. Like you were surpassing this, but you have to put in so much effort. It's also just being a female artist. You have to work 15 times harder in every single realm and have your identity be beloved in every realm. And like even thinking about all the artists that you just named, like in the female category, it's they've all had to go through some shit just to get to that level. Taylor Swift is the
100%.
prime most recent example. So I don't think that SZA cares enough to do that. Like she's genuine, like in the interviews she's been doing recently, like she only eventually she had the realization like holy shit, I'm famous because like I hate you slipped
Yeah,
up
right.
and it's like a TikTok thing, whatever. And I don't know, I think it just she doesn't want to put in that effort, and for her own self and for her like own sanity, I think that's what's good for her. So I'm talking like I know her, but like I do, you know.
But I'm glad because like for her own sanity, but also for her own artistry. There's no
Yeah,
song on this project that's like, oh, this was made for TikTok. There just isn't one
exactly.
of those. And
Exactly.
I think if there's like one that might be coming close, I think it's I believe it's F2F, which is like the song that MGK is
Pop
gonna try to
punky.
recreate for like the rest of
Oh
his
my
life.
god.
He's gonna try so hard to emulate this. But yeah, she's just like, you know what, fuck it. I heard that kind of shit. I can do it better, and she
Right.
did it.
It
But
was
like,
like Paramore-esque. Like everyone, you know, every little black girl loves Paramore, and that was like her little Paramore
really?
moment.
Were you a Paramore
Yes.
head? No kidding.
Yeah, there's a reason her last name is Williams. She is black. Like I have a theory that Haley Williams is black. Like every black girl loves Paramore. Like that is like their like alternative awakening
Damn, I
was
wonder if like
her.
every black dude like low key likes, I don't even know, Green Day? Is that like their like
Um,
is that their like one-to-one comparison? Would it be
I don't know.
Panic at
I
the Disco?
maybe I also loved Panic at the Disco, but I was
Oh
like
my god.
alt kid. I was super alty. Like
You're just a little grunge head. You were just like,
yeah.
mom, you wouldn't fucking get it, dude. This
Yeah, I
band's
used to
called
go to
Paramore.
shows. I used to like stage dive. I was like in that ass. It was
You,
weird, but it's fun.
you're a dog.
I still
Fucking
listen to it like, you know, at the gym. It's like really good. That's gonna be one of my gym songs for sure. Like good angsty music. The way people are with like EDM, I am with alternative music, I guess.
that's how I am with 90s hip hop. I just listened to Enter the
Mm,
Wu-Tang 36 like ODB. That's why I
I'm
resonated with him so much on this. Okay, give me a couple of highlights on the album. I want to give you a couple of my favorite songs. We already talked about Ghost in the Machine. That's my
mm,
front runner right now. That song is
really
I would kill for it. And the
okay.
first time I heard it, I was like, damn, this is fucking downtrodden. And I think I just had to adjust to it a little bit because it was like a Friday afternoon. And I was
Right.
just hearing it for like the third time. I was ready to party and whatnot. But then I listened to it again yesterday and then this morning and then again this afternoon when it's a little gloomier out and it's like, this is just two people at the peak of their powers, just
Yeah.
they sound so good together. I don't know how I never
Yeah.
listened to this woman before. I'm all in on Phoebe Bridgers, dog. And all it took was like,
Oh yeah.
I think she has like 4 bars. Like she's barely on
Yeah.
the song, but she takes her
Yeah.
time with it. She's so
Hmm.
calm. And it's like the old saying of like, the best salesmen talk really slow and they make you control it. Maybe I could do a better job of that on the podcast, but I just get so excited. And
Yeah.
she doesn't sound too excited on here. She's just like, I'm on a SZA project and I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking deliver. I'm gonna get a new audience. That's great and all that. But I'd rather just have a relationship with this artist and SZA, and let's just make the best thing possible.
Yeah. She's so like that too. I don't know, it's amazing to watch. She just, either her or Maddie Healy just posted a picture of them kissing. I'm like, she's just doing her rounds in the industry. She's got a cute little actor boyfriend, and I love that for her. Definitely listen to Motion Sickness though. That shit'll fuck you up.
Okay. All right,
Phoebe
bet I'll add it
Bridgers,
to my.
Motion Sickness, amazing. That's what put me on, of course.
I'll listen tonight.
My favorite, which I'm afraid is gonna get fucked up by TikTok, but surprisingly, I don't let TikTok fuck up too many things for me because I still really love Blind. But my favorite song right now is Kill Bill, for sure.
Oh,
For sure.
Kill Bill
It's
is
just,
fucking tough.
it's crazy. I'm like,
It made me a little bit concerned too, because I was like, there are definitely some exes out there that are gonna take this song literally, and it oh my god, Deja.
yeah.
But it's like I like that you mentioned this because I think that there are so many different sounds on this project, and every single one she killed. We talked about the pop punk, kind of like the neo, like modern folklore, but then this sounds like an early 2000s like soft pop featuring a woman who is contemplating killing her ex. Is it a Carrie Underwood song where she's talking about slashing his tires and stuff like that?
Mhm.
That feels like this
Before
generation's
he
version of that.
cheats, for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah.
Like it's kind of got that vibe, and it's
Hmm.
but then it also has like, I don't know, it's a very soft instrumental, but she's just bringing a very cathartic and difficult and powerful message to it. I'm
Yeah,
glad
I'm
you have
hoping for a
something that you
music
can.
video.
It was cathartic for you though.
Oh, a little bit too much, but someone, yeah, it's like a good, like you said, like it's one of those just like ex revenge songs, which I love. Like obviously I'm a massive Miley Cyrus fan and she does that the best. So to see SZA jump, which I wish Miley Cyrus was featured on this album, now that I
Mm,
think about it, that would have been amazing.
100%.
um but she kind of channeled that energy, which I always like peeked in on an album. And so that's probably my number one.
I'm
Mm,
also
my,
just a sucker for like songs that are named after movies. She's got Kill
of
Bill
course.
and Gone Girl on here, and it's
Yeah,
like both those movies. If you think about them, I mean, you got
it's enough for
Beatrix,
me.
the Black Mamba, who's just literally murdering bitches and men throughout the entire movie, both movies, and then in Gone Girl,
Yeah,
it's like that's a different level of psychotic.
insane.
And I'm not sure if SZA is capable of either of those things literally, but to at least like use that art to her advantage, good for her.
Hmm.
If anybody's
Yeah,
gonna do it, I'm glad it was her.
exactly. Gotta I like to know she has that side to her. I think my second would probably be Blind. There's just, I don't know what it is. That's another like TikTok hijack song, kind of just the like, melodic little verse she has. Exactly.
Oh my god, dude.
But like hearing that, I'm just like, you're toxic, you're messy. Like, I love this about you. It's hilarious.
Even her vocals are toxic. It's like
Exactly.
she's going to different registers all the time, and she's
Hmm.
when you think she's going one direction, she subverts it and fucks you up a little bit. Like
Exactly.
on Gone Girl. I mean, I was the first thing that I noticed when I listened to this project is the very first track. She samples the same sample that Drake did on Champagne Poetry on Certified Lover Boy. So on SOS,
Oh.
the title track, they both sample Until I Found the Lord, My Soul Couldn't Resist by
Oh.
the Gabriel Hardiman delegation. And when you listen to it, you'll notice it. It's like the second half of after Drake does the whole I love you, I love you, I love you.
Mm,
It's the second half of that track. It sounds just like a sped up version of SOS. And she comes out and she's just rapping. And then she goes into
mhm,
Kill Bill. And then what was initially my favorite song on the project was Low, which is
mm.
like, you know me,
Fire.
I'm gonna go towards the rapidy rap stuff first.
Yeah.
And Travis had some production credits on it, and it makes
Hmm.
so much
Makes
sense
a lot of
because she's
sense.
just I mean, she's just going on. Like Barter texted into the group chat. He was like, "Holy shit! It took SZA 5 years to decide that I want to be one of the best rappers, and I'm glad she did it." And she just has so many different flows. And
Yeah,
Low is just one of those examples where it's like, I'm like, I thought
it's a
Playboy
good, yeah,
Cardi
it's a
belonged
jam.
on it. I was like, this is
Damn.
like a vampire track. I was
Yeah, low
fucking
key.
loving it.
Yeah. That'll be a fun one, like a fun, like little pregame one. I've been
Mhm.
home too long, so I need to go to the club and like test this album out. Um, I also really enjoyed the resurgence of like some of those songs that I would normally skip slash listen to when I found
The
them on
singles.
SoundCloud. Yeah. Used with Don Toliver. Like that
Mm.
was really a nice resurgence I had with that. I Hate You, also amazing resurgence. Good Days is always just like feels like it's like an Alice in Wonderland song. I feel
I
like it,
think I took that one for granted because when it
yeah,
showed up on the project, I was like, I don't remember this one as well as I Hate You. I Hate You, I was automatically
mm,
like, okay, this is a fucking bop.
it's
Um,
perfect.
Even like she did like there was a TikTok that I saw the other day. I'm pissed we brought up this fucking app so much, but
I'm sorry. It's my
no,
brain.
it's my fault too because I'm on it and it just hooks you in. But it's
Yeah.
like some guy was like, "Do you remember in 2015 when every song on the radio sounded like this?" And it was just a bunch of DJ Mustard beats, like
I
very
saw that.
bouncy, and then Ty Dolla
Yeah.
Sign would show up. Notice Me and Conceited, both on this project, have
Uh-huh.
like kind of DJ Mustard beats, and
Mm-hmm.
both of those songs are better than anything DJ Mustard did in 2015. I promise you,
100%.
better than the Ty Dolla Sign tracks. And it's just like so fun and light, and it kind of sounds like the Little Mermaid, like got drunk. Like, is it Chloe Bailey that's gonna be the new Little Mermaid? These songs should be
Yeah.
featured in that like
Helly.
live action remake.
Okay, yeah. I feel you there. I think it's like a perfect because not every song can be like I think I would be really I'm glad it was longer going back to the length of it
Mm-hmm.
because if I had like 10 songs and I had to be like dying obsessed, I think I would like it would be like a blonde situation where I'm like, oh my God, this is you're doing too much a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this has a good range of a little bit of everything. So keep finding different songs that I like get attached to. And you're right, I get attached in like chunks. It'll be like two or three songs that I'm like obsessed with playing in a queue. And then from there I kind of explore. I was kind of surprised to say that Open Arms was like one of my least favorite songs
Is that the
on
Travis
the
track?
album. Yeah.
Um, it's interesting because it's like, so if like this is, it's a vulnerable song
Yeah.
and it's trying to say like essentially, whatever you may have done to me, if you come
Mm-hmm.
back, I'll be right here waiting for you. And it
Mm-hmm.
kind of contrasts some of the ideas on it. But once again, she is kind of messy on this album and
Yeah.
some borderline personality disorder, whatever it might be. But to
Mm-hmm.
have Travis featured on it was an interesting decision because he's
Mm-hmm.
in one of the most public relationships in the fucking world.
Right.
And so it's like, God, it's just sloppy.
It feels
But
weird. Yeah.
I like it. It's a good song. Like it
Yeah.
sounds
Of
good.
course.
But yeah, definitely like not my favorite message.
Yeah, I think he pulls away from it too much for me. And I think again, TikTok and Twitter though, Twitter is kind of being messy with it. They'll do like collages of Kylie and Travis, and I'm like, ew, like this is not what I want this song to resonate and like
Mm,
because whatever happens this next month on social media slash in my life, that's how I'm gonna remember this album. I always think
mm.
about things like that because that's just the way it is. And so I'm like, okay, let's not make this song about that. And recently it's been feeling that way. So surprisingly, if I'm like listening through, I might even skip it. Um, but also again, I think it's just a little too like melancholy for me right now.
Were you surprised by how popular it was? Like going through Instagram stories, seeing everybody posting their
Yes.
favorite song and stuff.
I was shocked, but also like it's just people really wanted a Love Galore part two. Like that song was
Sure,
really important for everyone, which I get. And I think that also was one of the tracks that on Control that pushed her into like mainstream.
100%.
It was his peak, pushed her, whatever. So I think that's why a lot of people latch onto it. Also, people just miss Travis Scott. Like, let's be real right now. People are missing his music a little bit. So I think it was just a nice different side of him to see. And like maybe he can venture off and do something different, even though I want the hard shit, but I'll let the girlies have whatever they want, you know.
Yeah, he's an interesting like. I think like after I graduated, I'm like I'm good on Travis for a while. I don't
Right?
really need it. And then he shows back up
Yeah.
on the Metro project, and I'm like, oh, I miss this guy because
Yeah, that was crazy.
I didn't love him on Fair Trade on CLB. I
Oh,
think
love
I do
that.
no I think Drake washes the first half. Like he's
Uh,
unbelievable. It's like the
uh,
best he's ever
okay, yeah.
sounded. But then on Pussy and Millions, I thought he was awesome again. Like he's talking about like
Yeah.
uh building a landing strip in the back of his house for his
Yeah.
jet, and it's like holy shit, what the fuck? You're already at this level? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I do want to close with this conversation because um I'm not sure if this is recency bias. I am definitely a victim of recency bias.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been 6 years, about to be 7 years for my girl not dropping a project in Rihanna. Like literally
Mm-hmm.
gonna be 7 years since Anti, which is psychotic.
And she's gonna do the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. She's gonna do the Super Bowl.
I'm
So
not gonna
maybe
let my friend. I hope my friend Mario's not listening to this shit, but I'm just wondering how that's gonna go. But continue.
she's gonna kill it. What do you mean?
He's
How is it
gonna
gonna go?
kill it, but like,
But is she gonna drop something? That's like she
yes.
could kill it for all I care. Like I know she's gonna do well. I just don't know if she's ever gonna release music again. And if she does, like is it gonna be like this rumored Jamaican project, which like I'm sorry, I'm a white guy in Des Moines, Iowa. It's not gonna be totally my vibe. I need more love on the
Okay, but
brain and
like,
higher.
did you like Renaissance? Renaissance was like a little
100%. 100 like
funkiness.
that's that's clubby though, and it's not like
Yeah, true.
but it's not like I don't know. I don't have to live in Barbados to love that
Yeah,
album.
you got to go to like St. Martin to really enjoy that.
But yeah, I have a confession. I think SZA is my queen right now. Like she's my number one. This album's gonna go down like in my top 25 albums of all time. I already feel that. I think she is.
Really?
I swear to God, I can't stop listening to it, and that hasn't
Yeah, I
happened with
love
me
that for you.
with a non-future Drake project in forever. Like
Yeah, I was
it
gonna
doesn't
say
happen.
you're a
Um,
hype ass, so this is great to hear.
I think it's better than her loss, and I loved her loss, but
Oh my
I
gosh.
certainly prefer it to it. Like it's
Yeah.
deeper, and I'm an artsy little douchebag or whatever, but yeah, I have her elevated over all these people, and I love Megan the Stallion, but I'm not sure if I could
Yeah.
listen to a whole project. I love Card.
Mm.
I could definitely listen to a whole Cardi project. Rico, but I think that SZA is just like she's the best
For the girl
singer.
is for sure.
I think she is the most creative, and she's willing to take the biggest reaches. Like I'm not sure if
Mm.
like Renaissance is beautiful, but it's like I think it's actually probably my favorite Beyonce project when I think about maybe Sasha Fierce, one of the two. But it's
Okay.
Beyonce. It's always Beyonce, and she's always
Yeah.
gonna be like almost unreachable,
Hmm.
like an icon of God. SZA
Yeah.
feels so grounded,
Yeah.
and I did not see that coming. I thought she was gonna kind of elevate to Beyonce status and
Hmm.
become unreachable, but instead she's like, you know what? I'm down to earth.
I'm one for the people.
100%.
She is. Love that about her. She is my like humanized singer. I was saying before we started recording, I will always it's kind of giving. I keep talking about Frank Ocean, but I miss him and I love him and he's everything to me. He's like SZA's, I think, my number one. But Frank Ocean is also like on another level where I can't even put him in a category. So it's easy to, but I think that Control is still my favorite album of all time, like without a doubt, front to back. But this is like the best second album I could have ever asked for. Like it's I have I have nothing bad to say necessarily. I'm just like obviously still in shock that I even have it. And I think I need like a good month to really resonate with it before I can be like, this is where it places in my top 25 of the year. I'm trying to think where it goes because she came in right at the end. And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, this really hurts me because my Spotify Wrapped would have been fucked up by this.
I mean, I'm gonna listen to more Her Loss because I'm just a Drake stan, but I think that I prefer this album. I think it's a better album.
Hmm.
I like it more,
Hmm.
at least according to the first listen. With that,
Yeah.
it's like she could have gone one or two ways. She could have gone Drake Beyonce way, or she could
Hmm.
have become unreachable, or she could have gone Frank Ocean way, where she's like,
Hmm.
listen, this is poetry. I'm
Yeah.
just like you guys. I'm kind of an enigma a little bit, but honestly, I'm really not. I'm leaving it all here on the music for you. Like when
Right.
I'm gonna be curious to see what her press run is gonna be like leading up to the Grammys, if it's gonna be eligible for the Grammys. Um, but
Hmm.
I think that like seeing her in the public sphere is gonna be really interesting how she handles questions about this album. If she's
Right.
gonna like Like Quentin Tarantino, like when he talks about his movies, he tells you every little detail, exactly what it means
Right.
and why he did it and what inspired it. Or
Mhm.
there's David Lynch, who's like, I don't know, it's in the fucking movie. Watch the movie again and
Right.
figure it out. So I'm curious what she does with that. But yeah, I'm obsessed with her. I think this album is perfect, and it's honestly like we can talk about Control. I really like Control.
Mhm.
I haven't listened to it in 2 or 3 years. Maybe I should revisit it, but I also haven't felt like the urge, the pull back to listen to it. Even when I knew this
Mhm.
album was coming, I
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, I need to re-listen to Control. Maybe I will now after our conversation. I didn't know it was your favorite project of all time. That's wild. Good for you on
I
that.
know. I just thought about it like recently. I'm like, nothing really moved and like really shook me into the core like that album did. It came at the perfect time. I think before that it was Channel Orange, and even Blonde was like, that's what I mean by the same feeling. Like the feeling I had when came out is the same feeling I'm having about this album. Like I know I love it and it's going to be in my top, but it takes me a little bit longer because I'm like, so much time has passed. Like, who is this person now? What is this sound? What am I hearing? Like, it's unbelievable.
The amount
So
you can change in 5 months, let alone 5
5
years.
years.
And
Oh
that's
my
like the
god.
thing with like,
Plus the pandemic. Like what? Trippy.
yeah, facts. Like between Honestly Nevermind and Her Loss, it's 5 months. It's like that's not a lot of time for Drake to change. Drake's pretty set in his ways. He's not going to change a
Oh
lot. He is
yeah.
who he is. I know
Yeah.
who he is. Maybe that's why I lean towards this album because it's like, damn, I didn't
It's
know
easy.
this
It's
about SZA.
comfortable. Yeah.
Like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
For SZA, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you have
Definitely.
something in your life that shook you as much as Dirty Sprite 2 did for me.
Is that your favorite album of all time?
No, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is
Oh,
it's like impossible to top. But we're not allowed to talk about him.
okay. Yeah. You haven't been giving him any airtime recently? I wonder why.
Nah, we haven't. It's been tough, as
It's
somebody with
tough.
yeah. Well, all right. Thank you for doing this. I love
Of
you. You're the
course. It's so good
best.
to see you.
I'm glad we had this project.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad she dropped in 2022 because like she saw the end of the year list. She's like, fuck
Mhm.
you guys. I'm up.
Yeah.
Here's this.
2023, my Wrapped is fucked. It's gonna be
Before
this album purely.
okay, well, before we get out here, actually, really quick, are you a Taylor Swift person?
Mm, am I gonna get killed? I feel like your followers aren't too big Swifties.
No, they're
I'm
not.
not. I'm
Sure.
not. I'm pretty anti Scooter Braun though, so like I respect and love, you know, respect and love her decision. And I think what she did is insane and impossible. So I support her, but I haven't listened to the new album, Midnights, or
That's
haven't
what I
listened.
wanted to say. It's fucking awesome. And it
It's
blew me
good.
out of the water. I
Okay.
don't think I'd ever listened to like a whole project of hers before, but it was honestly unbelievable. I would say that's probably my third favorite, and then Renaissance, and then this